I don't care if the sun don't shine. Get my loving in the evening time. I'm going to start this video by returning to the theme of the previous video, which was how English lyrics were presented on Japanese album covers. And that's going to segue nicely into today's topic, which is how frequently records were pressed in Japan. So let's begin with a look at a really nice EP that I found recently. This is from 1957. It's called Good Rockin' Elvis. And it's one of those EPs that came in the all-in-one plastic covers. So you can't rip this plastic off without damaging the cover itself. The front cover and the back cover are two separate pieces of paper. It's got 450 songs on there. You've got Blue, Moon of Kentucky, Good Rockin' Tonight, Shake, Rattle and Roll, and I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine. The version of Shake, Rattle and Roll on this EP is really good because it's the one without any reverb. So at some point later in the 50s, RCA drenched that song and Lordy Miss Claudie, maybe some others too, in reverb. But this is a really nice dry mono version. I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine is interesting because this was the first time it appeared on a record in Japan, and it never appeared on an album until the Sun Collection, which came out late 75 or early 76 in Japan. I can't quite remember the exact month. But anyway, the connection to Last Week is the lyrics. As you can see on the back there, you've got the lyrics for all 4 songs, but what's curious is the lyrics to I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine. I'm gonna read these to you, as well as the lyrics that you'll be familiar with. Before that, it also contains these lyrics here. The sun contains a ray. They label vitamin D, or vitamin, as you say in America. If you like vitamin D, it's quite all right with me. But I am here to say that I like vitamin love. But I can't get vitamin love with that doggone sun above. And then it goes into I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine, Get My Lovin' in the Evening Time. What awful lyrics. I'm so glad Elvis didn't sing those. I guess what happened is they must have got those lyrics from a sheet music source, and I've noticed that with 1 or 2 other songs as well on different records. So let's move on. The cover image there will be very familiar to a lot of you from the American EP, The Real Elvis, from 56, I think it came out. I don't have an American one, but I do have this British one from 1981. However, the tracks on this EP are totally different to the one we just looked at. This one has, of course, 2 classic singles, all 4 sides of 2 classic singles. Now, the Real Elvis, the EP, this EP here, it wasn't released in Japan at the time. And when it did come out finally at the end of 1965, it was no longer called the Real Elvis. And it didn't even look like the Real Elvis. It looked like that. If you look on the back, though, you can see it does have the same 4 songs, although in a different order to the American Real Elvis EP. So, I mean, you could argue that it's not even the same EP. However, on the label, it does say The Real Elvis. That's a really nice series of EPs that came out at the end of 65 and the beginning of 66. Building up quite a nice collection of those now. And they all came with a lyric sheet as well. And returning to that cover design for the theme of this video, the design was used in Japan on this single here, Hound Dog, Don't Be Cruel, which didn't come out until July 1962. So Victor in Japan, I think, were quite smart. What they did was they realized well, I'm guessing, they realized the potential of the 2 sides of the single, and so they released Hound Dog with I Love You Because, and Don't Be Cruel with I'll Never Let You Go. So they got 2 separate hits out of the 2 sides. So this one here is actually not a July 1962 pressing, it's actually an August 62 pressing. And it's actually got its original Victor record baggie I've got quite a few old records with these flimsy plastic baggies, but this is the first one I've ever seen with an actual Victor record baggie. Recently I've been buying a lot of copies of this particular single for the purpose of making the point that I'm going to make in this video, and because they're fun to collect as well. But this is the insert that they used pretty much throughout the life of the single. It didn't really change, apart from the shade of red on the front there changed a little bit every now and again. Then on the back there you've got, as usual, you've got a few notes in Japanese, the lyrics in English, you've got the bell mark up here, and then you've got the price down at the bottom, which initially was 330 yen. And the early copies came in this brown Victor sleeve, and there are the labels. There was one slight change to the labels later on in the 60s, as we'll see in a moment, but just keep your eye on this part here where it says the SS series. So as I say, that one came out in July 62. This one is an August 62 pressing. Now I've also got, these are all Hound Dog Don't Be Cruel singles from Japan. Very quickly I'm going to go through when each one was released. This one here is from September 62. Again, you can see the brown sleeve there. I've got another one here from September 62. Although the actual stampers used for those two copies from September 62 are different. So they may have been made on the same day, but certainly with different stampers. Then we've got a this is October 63. Still in the brown sleeve. Then the next one you'll see has a red, white and blue Victor sleeve. So if you're looking at copies of this single online and you see it's got one of these sleeves, that's a good indication that it's going to be a slightly later, or perhaps significantly later pressing, assuming it's in the right sleeve. This is a June 64 press. Another one here, still in the same sleeve. This one is November 64. This one here again, this one is February 65, same sleeve. And again, the last couple are interesting, so I'll show you the last ones in more detail. This one is March 65. This one is April 65. So they're all in the correct sleeves. This one I just picked up recently. There was something strange about it when I saw it online. And when I got it, I realized I was right. The insert is actually, it's a copy, it's not an original insert. But it's got an April 65 record in there. And the next one we've got is from July 65. And we're getting to the last ones now. So these are actually starting to be a little bit different now, the last few. So I'll show you a couple of those. Okay, so the insert is the same on the front. However, if you look on the back, just down there, there's no price. Price has disappeared. There is one out there with a 370 yen price, but I haven't been able to find that one yet. And if we look at the record labels, if you look where it says SS series, just below that you can see it says side 1. And it's got side 2 on the other side, so that's also an indicator of a much later version. And here's another one. Again, maybe you can notice the slight differences in the red color. Is that blurred or is it just my eyesight? I don't know. Now, if we look at the back of this one, the price is actually 400 yen. That definitely indicates one that was released after 1968, which is when records were priced at 400 yen. And the last one I've got here is another one that's 400 yen, but with a different date stamper on the runout groove. So if you want to know how to date Japanese records, these Victor records and RCA records, you can find out in this book here. So between 1958 and 1967 on singles, 1958 and 1977 on LPs, Victor later RCA, they used a dating system for their record pressing. So if you know how to decode the code, as it were, then you'll be able to tell when each record was pressed between those particular dates. But as you can see, they actually pressed the same record, in this case Hound Dog Don't Be Cruel, over and over and over again. I'm going to continue to get a few more copies just to see if I can find some more. I don't have any other ones to show you, by the way. These are all different copies in some way. Even the two that we looked at from the same month, September 62, they had different stampers. I can only guess why that would be. Perhaps it was something to do with storage. They were just sort of pressing these on a just-in-time sort of schedule. Japan's a really, it's not that small a country, but it's quite small in terms of where people can live and work, because it's very mountainous. It's not really a great country for being a record collector, to be honest, because there's just not that much space. Another possibility is that I've heard and read on more than one occasion that Japanese record companies only used virgin vinyl for their pressings, so they didn't want to recycle records, so they just made as few as possible, and then just kept pressing them as demand dictated. So yeah, just like this single here, Hound Dog Don't Be Cruel, a lot of Elvis's singles were on catalogue for many, many years. So in theory, there could be lots and lots of different pressings of those singles too. But this is the one that I've chosen to collect in serious quantities. So I'll continue to get a few more and maybe do an update someday in a few years. But I think that's it for this video. If you've got any comments or questions, as ever, just let me know in the comments section below. Hopefully in the near future, Mark and Adam and I will be doing another, well, not hopefully, we'll definitely be doing another podcast, this time looking at the music on the Blue Hawaii album. But anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Cheers. Time for a haircut, Davy lad. Let's pop that bit around there.